Happy Thanksgiving. We're going to talk today about gratitude. Of course, don't leave. Don't leave. I know it's so cliche. Your mind starts to close off. Well, I know what gratitude is. We don't need to talk about it anymore. I get it. No, I'm going to share with you something today. It's going to make a transformational difference. And it starts with gratitude. Open your brain up. You got to stop whatever you're doing right now and be present just for a few minutes. I'm going to be really quick today because I want to be able to just change your perspective just a hair and show you how, when you are wanting and needing a reset, gratitude is what opens the door. Now, keep in mind that this is something your brain will automatically want to shut down on and automatically think I've heard it a million times. Just stop, be present, and watch. Watch and listen to what we're going to talk about right now because it's really, really a big, big deal. And when we're in those places where we're having trouble either having a passionate discussion with our spouse, that never happens. Or we're having an argument with our kids, or we're in a tough place in health or finances or homeschool or whatever we're dealing with right now, family or extended family or job or whatever. It can be really hard. And the last thing you want to do is to be grateful. The last thing, and we can almost be resentful of it because somebody says, "Oh, you just need to count your blessings." Great. That doesn't fix my problem. But actually, it kind of does. I'm going to show you how in a second. Trust me, this is going to be amazing. So, when we're in those hard places, even though our brain, our body's all tensed up, we're in fight or flight mode, we're in survival mode, and we don't want to think about that because it's not practical. It's not solving our problem. It's exactly what you need to double down on. And I'm going to tell you why. So I've been there in lots of different places. Okay. I have a teenager. We get into arguments. It's just how it goes. Not that many, to be honest, but we do. And when we do, sometimes it gets to the point at which you just can't even see. Like, it's so frustrating that you can't even see. And the way out of it that I have found the most effective for both of us is when I step back, calm my hair down, just a hair. I'm kidding. I calm down just a little bit and I thank him for something, or tell him I'm so grateful that you something or other. And it's hard. It's hard to make that shift. But when I do, guess who also does? He does it too. He brings it down and he gets all of a sudden this amazing perspective. It's like magic. It's like magic. I'm not saying that's going to happen with your kid. He's pretty amazing with that. But I will say it will bring it down. And with time, with space, and maybe a discussion a little bit later, maybe a discussion when everybody's had time to think about things. And sometimes that does happen for us too. It's not always immediate. Sometimes it needs like a good while to just think about things. Then we can come back to it and have a totally different level of discussion where we're actually recognizing each other and we're coming up with solutions. Another example for me is I don't know if you already know this, but I've talked about this a lot. I have Crohn's disease. If you don't know what that is, it's an autoimmune disease that attacks your digestive system. And for me, it's mostly in my gut. And it is when I'm having a flare up, it is so painful and so uncomfortable that it's like labor pains. I'm not even joking. And I know what that looks like because I've had labor pains. So it's very similar to labor pains without the gift of the child. So it's really, really, really a bad place. And I can be that way for up to months at a time. Hopefully not, but sometimes that's the case, but definitely weeks on end. And that is the last place that I am really looking to have any gratitude about anything. I'm feeling very sorry for myself. I'm feeling very frustrated. I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of just negativity about everything. And I'm feeling guilt because I'm not present for my family. It's just a lot. And what I found, even though sometimes it takes me a while to get there, it might take me a day or two, it might take me a week to get there, but it's been getting shorter and I've been feeling good lately. So don't worry about me. I'm feeling good lately. Thank goodness. But what I have done is if I just think, and after getting out of it a little bit more and over the last years, because I've had this for over, let's see, Kenyon is turning 17, so I will have had this for about 14 years now. And so I can see perspective on how it's actually benefited us for having gone through this journey. Not only just me, but also my son and our family as a whole. It's really been amazing. And I can be grateful for that, what it's taught my son about resilience and longevity. We just were talking about that the other day and revisited that a little bit. And he got kind of emotional and he was like, I kind of forget because it's been a while since I've been in a bad place. So he said, I kind of forget how much you had to go through and you have to go through. And it was really a moment for him like, oh yeah, I forget. Yeah, it's hard. And it's hard for him. And so his resilience and his, relying on himself and like our togetherness as a family and our connection, because we have to rely on each other, how I need to rely on my spouse, I need to rely on my husband to, to take up the slack and to really give up control of things. Like it's really taught me a lot about control. And as you can imagine, but it's so empowering to be able to do that, even though it really, really sucks, you know? So I'm just want you to think about this for a moment. And even though all this is like, it's the last thing I want to do, if you double down on the gratitude, it really does open the door. And so I'm going to share with you a couple of good things that it does to help you open the door. I kind of already talked about a couple, but this helps you open the door to a reset. And we always need a reset after our family dynamic gets thrown out of whack for even a day, even half a day, or a whole week, whatever, maybe years. We need a reset. A love of learning reset is what I call it. And that is part of the very first thing we do in the Inspiring Lifelong Learning Academy. And so parents, we need to reset if it's coming from public school to homeschool, or we just had a really bad experience. We need to reset. If we've had a death in the family, if we've moved, all of these things, we need to reset. And the way that you do that opens the door to the reset, because again, when we're needing that reset, we're not in a place where we feel like, oh yeah, let's just have hunky-doriness. But if you open that door to gratitude, changes everything. Changes everything. Here's what it changes. It shifts your energy from focusing on negative to positive. And it's like instantaneous. If you think about something that you're grateful for, it's impossible to be negative in that moment. Now, you might revert back there, but let's sit in that positivity for a little bit, right? Sit in that gratitude. Number 2, it gives you power and control over a situation that you probably don't feel you have a lot of control over, which is why you're frustrated. So when I'm in a Crohn's flare up, I literally lose control of my body. My body does not do what I tell it to do. And it's very frustrating, and it impacts daily life. It impacts everyone's life in this family, and it's very difficult. And so by having gratitude, I can take back a little bit of that control and that power of feeling so helpless. So that's the second thing that it does. The third thing that it does is that when you are frustrated, What are you only thinking about? You're only thinking about the past moments. You're thinking about how I failed. You're thinking about how it stinks. You're thinking about how it's messed up. You don't deserve this. All these things. You're thinking about what's happened a moment ago or what happened a couple of, for the past several months or something like that. You are not forward focused. And what gratitude does is it whoop brings you out, just automatically snaps you out of that past focus and moves your brain into forward thinking. Now, this is something that my son and I just talked about in his martial arts recently. And I said, were you frustrated? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what were you not thinking about when you were frustrated? He's like, well, I wasn't thinking about a solution. And I was like, yeah, you weren't thinking about a solution. You can't think about a solution when your brain is frustrated in past focus mode. You have to think forward mode, and that is forward focusing, solution oriented. When you're in forward focus, you're thinking about, okay, let's just get out of the situation. What can we actually do? Sometimes, your brain will come up with things that you weren't in the space to even think about. My son was actually talking about a place where he was paralyzed, like not physically, but mentally paralyzed because he was so frustrated. You can't think about solutions when you're so blindly frustrated. It just makes sense. So gratitude helps us be forward focused and think about solutions, right? That's what we really want, right? And then the last thing that it does is that if you want your whole family to shift, you're the thermostat in your home. And you can decide to be that at any point. You can decide to change. So gratitude opens up a door, just like I said with my son, where we have arguments and then I decide to be grateful. Sometimes it's him. And it brings it all down. It brings everything down and the whole family dynamic shifts to a forward thinking, positive thinking, solution oriented, grateful heart mode. Does that make sense? It's so, so, so powerful. It's so powerful. So here's what I want you to do to get into that space, because sometimes you got to manually force it. I mean, you just don't want to get there. So some things I've done is I've kept a little journal. I'm not really a big journaler. I just never have been. I like writing, but I just don't like journaling. And so I like giving memo notes or something like that. But journaling, I do it sometimes because I know it is effective, but I'm not super good about doing it all the time. So journaling 3 things, and I have done this for a long period of time at one point. It was very, very effective. So writing 3 things you're grateful for at the start of the day. Why at the start of the day? Well, you're starting your day off with the door open. You start to think a little different, right? Maybe you need to revisit that list throughout the day. I don't know. But you know what I found when I started doing this? I couldn't write just 3. I kept going. There was just your brain starts thinking more and more and more and more of how many more things you have to be grateful about. Wow. It's hard to write just 3. But if you need to write just 3 at the start of the day. Then maybe at the end of the day, you write 1 thing that went well. Even if all it was is that everybody is still alive. Everybody has had food. Everybody is still alive, and we made it to the end of the day. Sometimes that's what you need to do. I learned that from my not only through my Crohn's disease flare-ups, but also from my friend who has 4 kids. And when they're some of them are really close in age, and that was a hard time. And she's like, if they all made it alive to the end of the day, that's a win. I was like, I love that. Yes, it's such a good perspective. It's amazing. So try to do those things. So this is the foundation of a love of learning reset. This is what we teach in the Inspiring Lifelong Learning Academy. This is a foundation for us to start a new chapter and rebuild our culture intentionally so that we can have days that are filled with gratitude, filled with joy, filled with ease, and our homeschool doesn't stifle us, doesn't make us feel frustrated. And we know for sure that it's going to get us to the point where we're raising lifelong learners and leaders and your end goal for who you're trying to raise. This is the very little peek of the door that opens for us to build all the rest of those things. Now, if you are in a place where you're just really struggling right now, let's chat. You can get a hold of me in wherever you're watching or listening to this. My link to schedule a chat with me is always available. And if you can't find it, just DM me, leave me a comment, email me, mentor@thefreedomscholar.com, and we'll get together and let's talk about some strategies on how we can start to get you on that path to a reset. I don't want you to sit in there. I've done it so many times and for longer than I should have if I'd have just said something and reached out. And there were times that I did reach out, and the transformation that happened because I actually was reaching out even when I was struggling, and I should say especially when I was struggling, that is a difference maker for sure. The reset is so powerful. There's more to this reset. This is just the little opening door that allows us to do the reset effectively. So once you open that door, then we can actually start the reset. And gratitude is that key. So I would love if you resonated with this at all to leave a comment, give me a subscribe on YouTube, give me a little review on Apple Podcasts. If you do, just take a screenshot of it and DM me, and I'll send you a free guide on how to increase love of learning right now, 3 things you can do. And I want to tell you, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you take some time today. I sent out an email earlier this week and just sharing about traditions and how important that is, those cultural, those conversations you have as a family. And this is where gratitude starts too, right? But as a family in these holiday times. And so the traditions that you have are important to a child's learning. I know that seems weird, but it is. It's a core phase foundation. So I hope you have time to do that today. I hope you have a beautiful Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you again next week.